Okay, yes, it's 8:32. We'll call the meeting to order. So the online, we start the online intro. Yes.
So we're gonna start the video.
Yes, start the meeting. Johnny, well.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras.
Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
All right, welcome. I'll be reading some administrative items before we call the roll call. Internet access. To view the meeting and provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You will be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You will also be asked for an email address, and you may fill in this field with any entry in an email format. For example, your name at mail.com. Your microphone will be automatically muted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about the agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. If you cannot get internet access, there is phone access. You may get audio-only access by calling the Zoom phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you will be prompted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted into the meeting. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate that you want to testify by entering star, then 9 on your phone's keypad. After entering star and 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing star and 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter star and 6 again to mute yourself. For both internet and phone access when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If the connection to the meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specified date and time. This information will be provided on the board's website at the link in the agenda. Instructions to attend the State of Hawaii virtual board meeting will be found online at this link in the agenda. You see here in the agenda. At this time, I'll take a roll call and call the meeting to order. Gary Miyashiro here, John Armos here, Chris Lee here, Robert Kawahara here, Wendell Lee
Here.
Zachary Johnson,
Here.
Isabella Gary. Here. And I think Alex Smith might be coming in on his way. But we do have a quorum, so he is in session. Okay, agenda item number 2, Chair's report. Is there any public testimony related to this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. This is Johnny. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, agenda item 2I, announcements. There is the annual NASBA meeting coming up October 25th. I think today the last day to sign up. So, just letting you guys know that we're not sending any representative this year to the annual meeting. So unless anybody wants to volunteer at the last minute. But that's just one announcement. Agenda item 2II, AICPA and NASBA seek input on proposed additional pathway to CPA licensure. Did you guys all get the email with the exposure draft? Anybody not get it? Okay. So the hopefully you guys all got that exposure draft. It is titled CPA Competency Based Experience Pathway. And just to kind of recap what it is NASBA I guess detailed out a little bit more the direction of other pathways to licensure. And again, the later on in our agenda, we'll be talking about that, which is probably coming up next on the agenda as far as what we're trying to do as the State of Hawaii Board. And the competency exposure draft kind of more defines what experience is and what kind of experience they're looking for the states to follow on more of a standard form in accordance to the UAA, which is the Uniform Accounting Act. So they are, I guess, giving guidance to the states who are considering changing the licensing requirements, which we are, by the way, on more definition as to the experience, the general experience that they're looking for at various ways to licensure, like we're considering, right? The experience requirement, reducing it, looking at the educational requirements, reducing it, experience requirements, going on a 2-year versus, what we have on the books now. So, I guess the period for comments, the dates, will be by December 6th. It just came out September 12th, so a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if anybody has any comments on that. Anyone? Okay, hearing none. I just wanted to let you guys know it's out there. I think we all got the email. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of moving onto agenda item 2, 3II. Okay, so this bill, which is drafted, I open up discussion to it because what we're doing, I guess in short, is we're trying to get a bill in the next legislative season to change the laws for CPA licensure, 120 credits, which is undergraduate degree plus 2 years of experience. In short. So the wording for that has been drafted in a bill. I'd like to open up discussion for that. You guys all had that draft in the meeting materials. So, any discussion on that or any comments? Because it is pretty significant as far as changing what we have now. Wendell, maybe you could chime in.
Yes, thank you. I'm hoping that we can adopt and pass this bill, this change in law to reduce or eliminate the 30 additional credits, which has now, I would say a year ago was something not even considered, but people are thinking about it. It has gained momentum from a national level. With the shortage of accountants and the barriers to entry for students that have graduated, that the 30 additional credits is not a value add, but is a barrier from entry. They are not required to have the 30 additional credits to take the CPA exam, or you can pass it with the 120 hours that, I'm sorry, with the baccalaureate degree. And so this law which is a big step for us, but an appropriate one, is one, to reduce the barrier of entry, two, to allow folks that have the requisite experience and additional education, they have a 1-year commitment. In lieu of the 30 credits, it's an additional year for that individual to practice under a CPA. So we feel that this experience that they'll gain with the additional year is probably almost or more valuable than they would receive in taking 30 additional credits of really not specified courses. And so what we have found in the education side, that many of these kids, one, can't afford it, or two, take quite easy courses at the community college in order to fill a requirement. And so I'm hoping the board will adopt this revision to our law. We are going to have to promote it as a board to the different industry groups that are out there. Hopefully there is no opposition to it. I'm hoping that most people, that everybody's in favor of it, so we can come together as an industry to pass this.
Thanks. Is there any other?
Just want to note that this is not an admin bill, so that would mean that you would have to look for someone to sponsor it.
Right.
So just to
Yeah, I have to agree with Wendell. I think it's a unnecessary barrier. It doesn't add value in terms of, producing better CPAs. The only thing is we still have the 1,500 audit hours in here, yeah?
Correct.
Or 2 years of experience. So I think maybe that's a little confusing with the additional, if you get the additional year, how does the chargeable audit hours factor into it?
Well, that would count as 1 year, right?
Right.
So you're looking at, like I said, the general licensing is the baccalaureate degree, 120, and then plus 2 years of experience. So the 1,500 could be 1 year, and then you would have to have it certified for another year from another permit holder, and then you could apply for the license.
Yeah, so
Oh, I see. Okay.
Zach, I would say, like, the way, if we want to get just broad public support, the best way to describe this would say that the current pathways continue to exist, that whatever we currently have as it stands right now, but there will be an additional pathway where 120 credits
Right.
plus an extra year of experience in a public accounting practice would meet the requirements. So I don't think it changes anything that currently exists. I think it just adds a new pathway and thereby reduces the burden to the students. So hopefully it's probably the best way to.
Yeah, we tried to make the change as simple as possible. I would like to add that we did take the 120 out and put baccalaureate degree to kind of future-proof the law. There is talk in the education field that the going to what we call a 90 credit baccalaureate, where instead of taking a lot of humanities courses, that they can take the core courses that are required for the degree. It's kind of starting to happen on some colleges on the mainland. We don't know if that will occur here, but if it does, we remove the 120 and just put baccalaureate degree in accounting. So just some color on that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any reservations for this bill.
Yeah.
This is Chris. You know, in the revision, it says that the additional experience shall meet the requirements set forth in subsection D and may be credited toward the experience requirements, meaning that if you have 2 years of general experience, that is inclusive of the 1 year. So we're not adding a year to the 2 years. We're just taking away 30 months, 30 minutes.
Not like a 3-year now, still in 2 years.
So we're not adding anything to it.
No.
I see. We're just taking away. It's a 30.
I know, yeah, right. That's
Yeah, just kind of removing that 30, and now you have the one. So you got like 3 pathways, right? You got folks that have a different degree that goes and gets the requisite credits, that might have the experience. Then you have a student coming straight out of school with the accounting degree. And then you have the student with maybe 150 credits or something more than that meets the requirements. Then they have to just do the 1 year. So it kind of involves different pathways, but it's trying to put some equivalency on the different pathways from the standpoint of experience, that if you only have the baccalaureate degree, you got to achieve 1 more year of experience. So it wouldn't be 3, correct?
But you're not saying if they get the 30 credits, they only need 1 year.
No.
Wait, there's a 12-month, let me find it.
This is the way. Nobody would go 30 credits.
Why go 150? That's correct.
Aside from the ones that already begun.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because their experience requirements aren't shortened because of the 30 credits.
No,
Correct.
And I think it also addresses. I'm gonna just say, I think it addresses reciprocity to other states, that if our 2 pathways that exist right now, which is your 150 credits and 2 years of experience, or your 150 credits and 1,500 chargeable audit hours, if you meet those requirements, you can still go outside of the state licensed kind of. Washington, Oregon, you know, wherever you go. The 120 would be specific to us. Impact reciprocity, at least until other states got on board. Could impact us.
I think, also too, you gotta consider that with that compensation model that they just issued. Right, and then we might have to consider that as far as making it consistent, because they are, especially, I don't know if you read the exposure draft, but they are kind of defining the experience, so we might have to maybe tweak the wording a little bit going forward before the bill actually gets sponsored and put through. And again, as far as the action of the board for this agenda item, I mean, I'm just really exposing it to in the public session, that's kind of where we want to go. And that's the purpose of this agenda item. And maybe it's just, I don't know what action I'm looking for, but maybe just we'll support the direction, I guess, that we want to go in. Maybe that's the motion I'm looking for from the board. But just as an aside, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's an agenda item number 5 later on that I'll discuss that. You know, it's not only, I don't want it to only be us, I guess, as a board saying on everybody's throats, because like what Wendell said, that we are looking for support from the community. And therefore there is this thing that I heard about through the DCCA that is called a permitted interaction group. And again, I'll discuss it more in detail later, but it'll be like I guess, public forum to everybody to give their input from the industry groups and all that. So
Yeah, so the hope is that, you know, if the board's, you know, from a concept standpoint, wants to go in this direction, here's a draft of a bill, and we kind of go out for comment through the different industry groups, and I'll be happy to participate in that. Education, in, you know, business groups, etc., to see if they have comment. And then, you know, if there's anything we didn't see that, you know, we can tweak before we submit it next year. That's kind of the goal, because we're trying to get consensus.
yeah. And I think it aligns with what, like I said, that's why they issued that draft of that competency model, because I think a lot of other states are having this discussion too with their boards. I think 2 have actually put legislation through already last year. I forget which state it was, Minnesota, I think.
Minnesota.
They're actually going effective next year. 2026, I think, is their goal date, I guess. So they already approved it, so to speak. I don't know the detail. I didn't read their law, but in the gist of it, it was 120 plus 2, right?
So Chris, to answer your question, if you go to page 3, line 12, it says, if the applicant has a minimum of 18 semester hours of upper division or graduate level accounting and audit subjects, the applicant may elect to replace the 30 semester hours of additional credit with additional 12 months of experience. So that's that change. And then, so if you just take that out and you look at it from the standpoint of if they have the 150 hours, they would only need 1 year of credit. This adds the 12 months. That takes us to 2. So it doesn't get us to 3.
Wait, say that again. So they only need 1 year of experience with
The 150. And then you need 2 years of experience if you, in lieu of the 150, if you just have your baccalaureate.
Okay.
And that time may be credited to the experience requirements in subsection D.
Can
Go
I make
ahead,
a
John.
motion to move to executive session to discuss any potential legislature issues the board related to the board coming forward with this bill?
Consult with counsel.
Yeah, consult with counsel.
Second.
I'll second that. Chris, I'll second that.
Okay.
It's been moved and second to move into executive session to discuss any legislative concerns with our Attorney General. I'll take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Armos,
Yes.
Robert Kawahara,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Wendell Lee,
Yes.
Isabella Gary,
Yes.
Zach Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move into executive session, so we will move into executive session now. All right, so we're back in open session. We're on agenda item number 2, III. A bill for education requirements for CPA. So yeah, just to clarify, we are just discussing this as a board. There is no action item for us to do, just to expose it to board members and also the public. That this is the direction that the board wants to head. So, any further comments on this agenda item? If not, I'll be moving on to the next item, which is agenda item number 2IV. Relating to peer review process for CPA firms. There needs the reference to the Hawaii Society of CPAs, and that's all it really is. So I don't know what the bill process is in this too, because seems like more of an admin bill, but if we don't get it through this session, then it could wait till next session, but just as a background on this, that Hawaii Society of CPAs no longer administers peer reviews for the state of Hawaii practitioners, and that's been the case for 3, 4 years now, or 2 licensing cycles. So it's just more of a cleanup on that. So, I think we all, I don't know if we all know, but just for everybody's information, the Oregon Society of CPAs takes care of all peer review administration for Hawaii members of the peer review process. So yeah, I think the objective of the bill is not to specifically name a state society, because that might change. As the peer review administrators may change in the future. So the bill was just to make it a general reference that a administrator that's approved by the board and the ICPA needs to be put in the bill. So that is that item that we're trying to change. And again, no action item needed, just we'll clean up that part of the bill, of the law. Okay.
Just like on the last page of that bill, instead of public accounts, it's public accountants, just on the last page.
Okay. So we'll make sure that gets cleaned up before we ask somebody to sponsor that bill. Agenda item number 3. We're gonna defer this item, so I don't know if I need to ask for any public testimony. Or if maybe I should ask, is there any public testimony related to agenda item number 3?
Thank you, Chair. This is, we do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
So the agenda item number 3, we're gonna defer. We didn't get the draft. It wasn't available at the time of this meeting, so it's deferred to the next meeting. All right, agenda item number 4. Is there any public testimony in relation to the executive officer's report?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Great, Hector, go ahead.
For the executive officer's report, on August 22nd, we mailed out the audits, letters for the accountancy, and that was for CPAs. Those who hold CPAs, we require them to turn in their for credit ethics course. And then we have the CPA with PTPs. Those are the ones that we require the 80 credits to turn in. And for the firm permit to practice, we require them to turn in a form CPA PR4, and that's the one where it says they passed or they failed the peer review, basically. And they had actually the 22nd, this past Saturday, to have it stamped. And so we may still have some received this week, as long as they were stamped on the 22nd, and we'll accept them, basically. And as of yesterday, no, we do not have 100% compliance yet, meaning that we have not received what we sent out.
100% response, you mean?
Yes, not yet. There is not 100% response.
'Cause you haven't checked the compliance yet, right?
I've been checking most of those that we received, we've been checking them.
Okay.
So,
And those went out to 10%, is that right?
yes, yes. And it's very interesting, just, I know it's in public forum, but basically, some would write and say, thank you, I enjoy this, this audit. It shows that you guys are doing the audit. And some are saying, you guys have been auditing me almost every cycle. So we have both sides, yeah, just to let you know. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Hector. The agenda item number 5. Wait, John, we'll come back, but, any public testimony related to this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, so segueing from a previous agenda item, on the change the credit hours for, submitting a bill for that. There is a permitted interaction group. And again, the acronym is not, it's called PIG, but and it's to evaluate the significance of reducing the educational requirements for licensures from 150 to 120 and, different pathways to the licensure. So, it is a interaction group with the industry, people outside of the board. Again, we cannot have members in this group, board members in this group more than quorum, so there is a probably maybe 3 members. We can, I think, go up to 4 members to discuss and again, this group is going to be made up of, like I said, maybe some of the state societies, some of the professional organizations out there, or any interested CPAs that we may deem to be useful to provide a discussion for the change in the law. So, and it doesn't violate any sunshine laws as far as forming this group. So I guess what I'm looking for from the board is that if we should make a motion to approve the formation of this permitted interaction group for discussion on the bill to change the licensing requirements.
So that would be under HRS 92.2.5. It's like B1. So the purpose of the group would be to investigate a matter relating to board business. And the way you folks have set it forth in your agenda is to evaluate the significance of reducing the educational requirements for licensure from 150 semester hours to 120 semester hours for CPA applicants. So if the scope of it is going to be anything more than that, you should include that in what the group is going to do, because as part of the process, you have to say what the scope of the investigation is and what each member's authority is who's conducting the investigation.
And also for this one, we have to make sure that for the PIG, 4 of the members can participate, no more than, because once we have the quorum, then it's not considered. But 4, up to 4, could be less. And then those 4 members who will be participating can include outsiders. So, but we cannot have quorum because then it becomes different. But whatever you guys, if you guys vote to have for the PIG to be formed today, it's okay. Otherwise, you cannot do the so-called research without that PIG.
So just a quick kind of administrative question. If the research from the current permitted interaction group leads to the fact that maybe there's a scope that gets wider and something else needs to be considered, can we adjust the scope later, or should we try and?
I think you have to do it at the present time. So you want to make it broad enough.
Got it.
Because otherwise it slows the process, because once you do your thing, then you have to still come back, present it to the board. The board can't act at that meeting. You have to wait one more meeting, right? So the public can hear what you came up with before you can act on it.
So if you want to add more, John, what we can do is we can actually postpone the formation till later so that you can include.
No, I just an administrative question. I don't want it. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we could, but then anytime in this meeting we postpone, it's 2 months, right? I mean, because we're having a meeting every other month.
I mean, I think with the way it's set forth in 5 seems to capture it.
Yeah, it does capture it. It doesn't address the experience requirements though. Right, so I don't know if we have to add that.
If you want them to look at that too.
So it would be reducing the educational requirements, or, I mean, not,
Educational and experience requirements for licensure from
Yeah.
115 to 120. Just add
and experience, yeah, and experience requirements for licensure.
Let's make it more general, like James was saying. When you just said instead of changing credit requirements, it's significance of changing the requirements.
Yeah,
For licensure,
I would agree. Don't even
okay,
define it.
yeah.
Then you're more open.
That to the wage, James.
So how would it say?
Evaluate the significance of changing the requirements for
Licensure.
Sure.
I would at least include what's in 5 so people have an idea at least where that's going, right? Because it could be then anything that's part of the licensing process.
Too broad.
Yeah.
And also if we decide today, for example, some programs, some boards, I mean, they don't have to be done the next meeting. Some are actually like sometimes a year. It takes a long time to study. So bottom line is, just because we agree to do it today, for example, doesn't mean that it has to be a result by the next meeting, because maybe you guys didn't have the time to do it yet. So
But I think with the amendment you guys were suggesting, this is pretty broad. I think it's gonna cover what you folks want to do.
I guess we just add, well, this is what we have on the agenda item. And then add and experience requirements.
Yeah, just so that we're all lined up. Maybe instead of saying of reducing requirements, maybe we could say to explore pathways, which could include 150 semester to 120 semester, as well as experience. We're not trying to change, I don't think, what was before. We're trying to explore new opportunities, right? If we say the word reducing,
may not be part of that.
yeah, we may not be reducing what is currently there. We may be looking for new. Does that make sense, James? Am I reading too much?
What about just the title with the CPA competency-based experience pathway? Like, that is the name of the third pathway that AICP or NASBA is introducing. So why don't we just say that the PIG is going to evaluate the CPA competency-based experience pathway, which includes all of it. If you go back and look at the exposure draft, you can point anybody to the exposure draft and they can see what we're referring to that we're looking at.
Second that. Are you that your motion?
I'll make it the motion.
Okay, why don't we-
If James is okay with that.
Yeah,
Is that broad enough for us?
I think so. And then you just want to articulate, so the members of this committee will be empowered to talk to other industry groups or whoever they need to consult with, right? And then formulate a product that can come back to the board, right? So the board can then consider, you know, whether it's going to be legislative change or some other kind of change.
Yes. Okay, say that motion again, Robert.
I will make a motion to, let me just go back to the agenda item here. Sorry. For the formation of a permitted interaction group to evaluate the significance of the CPA competency-based experience pathway exposure draft issued by AICPA and NASBA.
Chris, I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to form the permitted interaction group. I'll take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbus?
Yes.
Robert Kahar?
Yes.
Chris Lee?
Yes.
Alex Smith?
Yes.
Wendell Lee?
Yes.
Isabella Gary?
Yes.
Zach Johnson?
Yes.
Do we have to choose the members?
Yeah, now you have to vote for the people who are gonna be on.
Okay,
I think it's 2 to, quorum is 9, right, for you folks?
yes.
So cannot be 5, so 2, 4.
Okay,
And you have to, but we cannot swap in and out.
No.
It has to be defined.
yes.
So it's 4 people or 3 people are the ones.
When do I volunteer?
John.
This is John, I'll volunteer.
Anybody else? Chris, you want to be part of the group or?
Okay. If you need, sure, I can. This is Chris, I'll volunteer.
Okay. So we can up to 4, maybe?
You can have up to 4, but no more, yeah, no more than that.
Well, you have not 3.
3?
So if you want to have one more, you can. If you don't have to, if you don't want to.
Okay, anybody else? I mean, I don't have to be on it. Unless anybody else wants to be on it, we can have 4. Anybody? Robert? Okay. Well, I mean, I'll be on it then. Like I said, I don't have to be, but I'll be the 4th. So let's see, it will be me, John, Wendell, and Chris.
Would be the motion to.
Yeah.
the-
I'll yeah, can I move?
I'll make a motion to approve, Wendell, Chris, Gary, and myself, to be part of the permitted interaction group.
Okay, we'll take a vote on that.
Yeah, second. It's a big-
I'll second. Oh, second? Second. We'll take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbus?
Yes.
Robert Carhara?
Yes.
Chris Lee?
Yes.
Alex Smith? Wendell Lee?
Yes.
Isabella Gary?
Yes.
Zach Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. I'll forward that and then we'll be in touch later to see how we move forward with the evaluation of that motion and come back to the board at a future date. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6. Any public testimony in relation to?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, at this time, I don't know if you guys want to have a motion to move into executive session to discuss agenda item number 6 and 7, which is the, can I do that? Can we do those items? Yeah. And then maybe come back into public session to take any public testimony? Or should I ask?
So that's to consider and evaluate personal information relating to individuals applying for.
Yes. I guess I should ask for public testimony for each of those then, for agenda item number 6 or 7. Is there any public testimony related to those 2 agenda items?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, so if I can have a motion to move into executive session for agenda items number 6 and 7.
This is John, so moved.
This is Chris, I'll second.
Okay, I'll take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbus?
Yes.
Robert Kahara?
Yes.
Chris Lee?
Yes.
Alex Smith?
Yes.
Wendell Lee?
Yes.
Isabella Gary?
Yes.
Zach Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, moving into executive session.
The conference room is muted. So we can't hear you.
How about now?
There we go.
Right, all right. Back in open session, we're on agenda item number 6. CPA scores extension request from Abdallah Seko. We are going to defer this agenda item. So we won't make any decision yet in this meeting. Moving on to agenda item number 7, applications. Agenda item number 7A. We have ratification of CPA permits to practice from these candidates listed. Can I have, or any? I can approve the whole agenda, right? So, okay. We also have agenda item number 7B, approval of firm and trade names. We have 4 approvals here on the agenda. Agenda item number 7C, CPA applications. We have 26 applicants listed here. And agenda item number 7D, CPA sponsor agreements for the 2 firms listed below. Can I have a motion to approve agenda items numbers 7A, B, C, and D?
This is John, I'll move.
Robert, I'll second.
Okay, this is approving agenda items under 7A, B, and C. Take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbos,
Yes.
Robert Kawahara,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
That was on mute.
Yes, sorry.
Isabella Gary,
Yes.
Zach Johnson.
Yes.
Approved. Next meeting will be Friday, November 15th. 8:30 here in this room. The Zoom option available. And meeting is adjourned, agenda 9.